Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. This is Game 3 of the Best of 5 series between myself and Janet on occasion, who is a fellow YouTuber. This is a Best of 5 we fought on Turn's stream recently, so definitely was a great battle. This is Game 3, I've got the Skaven up against the Beastmen, so let's go straight to the army builds. As you can see, this Vanguard shenanigans has kicked off already. We've got 3 gutter runners Vanguarded up front, who are skirmishing currently with the Centaurs. We've also got 2 Skaven Slave Slingers. We've got Skaven Slave Spear on each flank. We've also got a Clan Rat Spear on each flank. Main line here of 4 Plague Monks. We've got a Warlord on a Bonebreaker, 2 units of Rat Ogres, or sorry, 1 unit of Rat Ogres. We've got a Plague Furnace, as well as a Warlock Engineer with the Warpstone Armor. And that's about it for my build. For Janet's build, of course, he's got the 2 Centaurs with great weapons, as well as these Hounds, who are currently taking some nasty fire here. On this other side, he does have 2 more Centaurs with great weapons and another unit of Poison Warhounds. He's got 1 Bestigor, 2 Bestigor there, and looks like 5 Ungor Herd. He's also got 2 Ungor Raiders, Lore of Beast Spray Shaman with Flock of Doom, and Morgher the Shadow Gave. So very fun stuff. Let's go ahead and kick things into full gear and watch what happens. So immediately the skirmishing phase begins. We're going to be using these gutter runners very aggressively. We've already done about half HP damage to this unit, about 20% HP damage to this unit, so very nice value right out of the gate from these guys. They've been able to get some pretty nice work done already. So we're going to be just screening the Beastmen advance here. I'm going to be repositioning my forces into a bit of a defensive position here. And we just basically going to wait for Janet to come to me, since I do have a ranged advantage here with these gutter runners. So they're going to be pitching their little poison shurikens here and doing some really nice damage to the low armor targets here. Looks like maybe a volley or 2 going down on those Ungor Raiders, but very fun stuff, just kind of screening this whole advance here. Janet's doing a good job of pushing through. He's going to get tied up on the Skaven Slave Slingers, and then that's going to allow me to potentially countercharge with the Plague Monks. The biggest issue I'm going to have is I don't have a whole bunch of armor piercing to deal with these Bestigor Herd. And, of course, the Centaurs, their high mobility is potentially going to be a big problem as well. So, you know, we're going to have to use the Plague Priest potentially to screen these guys out, do some armor piercing. It does have armor piercing anti-infantry, so we can use that to get on top of the Bestigor Herd. We can also use these Rat Ogres potentially to do some damage to the Bestigor Herd, and, of course, the Bonebreaker himself. So let's go ahead and get back into full gear and watch as this General Beastman charge goes down here. They're going to get all kinds of mucked up in the Skaven Slaves. That's exactly what I want, and we're going to be getting countercharge orders with the Plague Monks here, charging through the back of their own Skaven, and definitely going to be getting in here. They'll do okay against Bestigor. They won't be great there, but they'll do very well against the Ungor Herd. You can see them already getting some really nice kills racked up. So all across the main line here, getting real wild. We've got the Bonebreaker onto the Shaman here, the Lord Beast Spray Shaman, been able to do most of his HP and damage and actually rout him off, so far so good. We do have Chaos Spawn Summons in the back line though, and you can see my gutter runners are pulling up back here, just trying to use 1 unit to hold while these others pitch their shurikens in to do some nice damage, but we're just not unfortunately doing damage fast enough. Meanwhile, over here, the Warlock Engineer just helping drain these Ungor Herd while they're caught up on the Clan Rat Spears. We are somewhat winning this main infantry engagement. For the most part, the Ungors are really the ones losing out here, but the Bestigor Herd, we've got 1 here that's about half HP. This other one here is flanking around the side. Janet's doing a really good job. He kind of overloaded on this flank, so he's pushing these 2 units up and around the side here. So he's going to be able to potentially get rear charges into these some of these Plague Monks and very disadvantageous situations. Beautiful Doom Flock there coming down from the regrouped Shaman there. Very nice charge coming down from these Rat Ogres here. They're getting into these Ungor Raiders. Just trying to finish off my opponent's missiles here. We're pretty far ahead on the balance of power at this point. We still got quite a bit of battle to go though, so Morker is currently getting kind of beaten up by this Rat Ogre here. Currently gets blown back by the Verminous Valor, and yeah, Morker, although he does have regeneration, is going to be really, really tough. You know, it's going to be a tough time for him to fight a Warlord. Warlord's got excellent combat stats and heavy weapon strength. He's, got Frenzy as well, so I'm personally not a big fan of Skrolk in this matchup, just because up against Morgher, if we go ahead and take a slow motion look as he gets mauled by this Rat Ogre here, If we go ahead and look at the information screen, we can see Morker actually does have quite a bit of magic resistance, 25% magic resistance, so Scroll casts magic melee attacks, and he also, the Liber Bonicus, of course, does magic damage. So although, it's not a huge amount of mitigation, it is some mitigation, and I think the Warlord's a bit of a risk here, because he can get targeted down by armor-piercing troops, but, I do think he's a better pick in this matchup. But at this point, though, we failed to finish off the Centaurs, and I'm going to pay a bit of a price here. My Warlord's a bit overextended, and he's going to get ganged up on by these Bestigor herd, who do have great armor-piercing damage. The Chaos Spawn also inundating him are going to be doing some pretty decent damage as well. The Warlord only has 70 armor, so the Chaos Spawn will probably make some solid contact there. Janet's doing a really good job of pulling out his mobile forces here, and just despite them being very, very withered, he's got them continuing to charge in. This healthy unit of Bestigor herd as well has finally come into the fight here. They're going to be working their way up the hill and fighting these Plague Monks all kind of clumped up here at the top. My Plague Monks have taken a ton of damage, and another beautiful Doom Flock there by the regrouped Shaman, and man, he's just doing a ton of value right there. We do have the Plague Priest Furnace coming in here, going to be getting that nice drain, but at this point it's a little bit of a dicey situation. If we can finish off Morker, the Beastmen morale will pretty much shatter, and that'll be game. But Janet's been able to pull it back somewhat here by using his mobile forces very, very well to pick off units out on the periphery here. My Rat Ogres are also way out of position over here. They were chasing off some archers, but I definitely need them to come back into this fight here and get on this unit of Bestigor. We are going to try and get the Plague Furnace in on these Bestigor as well, but the Centaurs with great weapons and the Hounds charging in here. Another just devastating Doomflock, and that's going to rout all the support here, meaning these guys are going to be able to turn their attention to the Plague Priest, which, I mean, the Screaming Bell, the Plague Furnace does have 100 armor, so it will take the armor piercing these troops to get through it. However, they will be able to do so. Morker, though, has almost been caught here by the Rat Ogre. He's getting distracted by these Ungors, unfortunately, but one or two attacks on Morker will pretty much finish him off there, and a mean right hook from that Rat Ogre there, man, really putting on the Mike Tyson moves there. But with that belly flop, he's getting really, really close. Morker's at only 500 HP and still regenerating, but he's so close to dying. One or two attacks would finish him off. Janet manages to squeak away here, and the Centaurs with great weapons are now doing a ton of armor-piercing damage to the Warlord. Another great devolve there, routing off those Skaven Slave Spears. At this point, all my infantry's routed off, and some of them are regrouping towards the periphery of the battle, but I have no support units for my large specialty units here, like the Plague Priest. Rat Ogres are finally coming back into the battle, but it's a little bit too late for them to really do anything, and the Warlord actually gets taken down by the Centaurs and this regrouped Shaman here on his chariot. So rough day for the Skaven. That's going to be a serious blow to the balance of power, and it's going to be tough for my units to hold their leadership together. His balance of power is still pretty close, though, and it's definitely still winnable here. It matters is if I can keep my drain units long enough to, alive long enough to drain what's left of the Beastmen infantry and mobile units here. So trying desperately to spring this Plague Priest loose, but he doesn't have the speed to get through there. We do have the Warlock Engineer regrouped, however. He's got the Warpstone armor, so he's got that drain effect as well. If I can just get him inundated with these Rat Ogres and kind of collect this last Beastman blob here and just drain away the last of their hit points, we may be able to come back. You can see with the rout of that Plague Priest, though, the balance of power shifted heavily against me, and really not liking my chances too much at this point. Very close battle still, though, and the Warlock Engineer getting punted around by the Chariot Shaman. Not really a good time for him. He's not too happy about life, so he's going to get his glowing green spear and try and chase after him, but honestly, it's not really worthwhile. The Rat Ogres are going to be getting a valiant final charge here down the hill into these Beastmen forces, so we'll go ahead and grab some cinematic action of that. The Hounds pull away at the last second, or do they actually rout? I actually believe they routed at the last second, but anyway, finally going to get into the Bestigor here, where I've needed these Rat Ogres the entire battle. Unfortunately, they were off kind of over on the side. You can see the drain effect is going down, though, and we actually were able to rout the Hounds. We're able to rout this Ungor herd. This Bestigor herd is taking quite a bit of armor-piercing damage from the Rat Ogres and is getting drained as well, but it's just not quite going to be enough here. It's very, very close at this point. Balance of power is still winnable, certainly. It is in Janet's favor, but it's slowly sliding more and more towards his favor as now these Rat Ogres are finished off. Once these Bestigor turn around and start getting attacks on the Warlock Engineer, he's pretty much done. So Morker is pretty angry about this whole situation, having been beat up by that Warlord for most of the battle. He's going to get in here and poison this Warlock Engineer and tell him to go back to his rat cave. So that's going to be it for the Skaven, unfortunately. So very well played to Janet on occasion. He takes game 3, bringing the series at 2-1. So still potentially 1 to 2 games to go. So very fun stuff. In terms of the army breakdown here, 124 kills on that Plague Priest. He got some really nice Pestilent Breaths, and the Plague Monk summons as well were clutch. The Drain, just tons to like about the Plague Priest on the Plague Furnace there. Plague Monks across the line getting a lot of kills but not picking up any chevrons, which is a little bit telling. It means they mostly just butchered low value units like Ungors, which is okay, but it's not the greatest. The Gutter Runners did okay in that early engagement, kind of skirmishing with those Centigors, but unfortunately the Centigors were able to kind of, on the other flank at least, were able to kind of circumvent, and, Janet did a really good job of pulling his troops back together, really not getting too worked up over it. And 151 kills on the Rat Ogres is nice, but again, they weren't on the targets they needed to be on. I really needed to get them on this one unit of Vestigor. They got 182 kills that came in the late game. They were still relatively fresh, and the late game push from the the Centigors was key as well, because of course, Centigors do have perfect vigor when they have high leadership. So in a late game situation like that, if you can get their leadership up, they'll get that perfect vigor, and they'll trade miles better against tired troops. Like, by the point where they had finished off my Warlord, my Warlord was probably exhausted, and the Centigors potentially could have been fresh at that point. I didn't quite catch that in the battle, but, Skaven Slave Slingers did a good job of just being a meat shield. The Clan Rats did okay. I might just downgrade these guys to Skaven Slave Spears and just bring more units. I think that might be a little bit better here, but, it's tough to say. For Janet's build, the Vestigor really MVPs here, 182 kills and a Chevron. The Ungor Herd pretty much just got carved up. They got some okay kills in certain situations against slaves, but, it's not really great. The Centigors also MVPs here. Personally, I like the regular Centigors a little bit better against the Skaven, because they do have a small missile block chance, and, they're also, you don't necessarily need the armor piercing against the Skaven a lot of the time. But, the mobility is great, the charge bonus is great. These guys are such a good toolkit unit, so very well played to Janet on occasion. Hope you guys enjoyed watching that battle. Stay tuned for the rest of the series. If you like this kind of content, like and subscribe. Check out Janet on Occasion's channel. I'll have a link down in the description below. And yeah, we'll see you next time.